Hey guys, SuperHorrorBro Mike here, and in today's video we take a look at the story of Glitched Out, the tale of a software security programmer named Lex, who awakens to find themselves trapped inside a government facility full of escaped entities and infected computer systems. Now, as some of you may be aware, Glitched Out is actually my very first video game as a creator. I made it over the last few years with programmer It's Just Jord, and there's a full playthrough up on the channel if you'd like to check out that video. As I did write the story of the game, I will be handling this story explained slightly differently than usual. There won't be any theorizing. Rather, I will relay the story of the game as presented, but offer clarification on certain story elements that may be tricky to understand, without spoiling future narrative elements that are not fully explained within this first chapter. With that said, sit back, relax, and enjoy this story explained video for Glitched Out Chapter 1. Glitched Out begins with the sound of an emergency alarm as our protagonist wakes to find herself trapped inside a blazing inferno.
I gotta get out of here.
Getting to her feet, our plucky heroine rushes through the fiery halls in search of safe haven. She discovers an open ventilation shaft and navigates through the smog, emerging on the other side, where she is soon able to locate a keycard that allows her access to a nearby IT room, safe for now from the fiery abyss. Within this computer room, we see several research charts for a device known as a PGF, or Portable Glitch Fixer, and an AI companion installed within it called Chip. It seems the PGF is a hacking device, which can be used to crush malware and glitches infecting computer systems that plague this facility. It is also upgradable, making it quite the versatile tool. It seems Chip is equipped with an advanced processor known as Emotion, which allows him to think and feel just like a real human. Lex notices a monitor with a glitching message which reads, "Find the key, set me free." A drawer in the desk below this monitor is locked, so it seems we need a key to access it. Sure enough, a key is located nearby, and indeed, it does unlock the drawer. Inside is a note from Head of Software Security, Franklin Banks. We learn that Mr. Banks has grown tired of treatment from upper management, who treated him like a robot and worked him to the bone. Because of this, he decided to quit his position, but before doing so, reprogrammed the door code to the server room as a way to stick it to the higher ups. Franklin leaves us a clue to help us work out the revised door code. We must first count the number of Foxy Pop soda cans in the vending machine. Next, the number of bobbleheads on the shelf above his co-worker's desk. And finally, the number of security breaches he prevented that month. Doing so reveals a 4-digit code, which allows our protagonist access to the server room where she discovers the PGF.
What is this thing?
After turning on the Portable Glitch Fixer, we are greeted by a friendly, if slightly sarcastic AI companion known as Chip, who explains our protagonist is named Lex and is one of the facility's key software security engineers. It seems Lex hasn't done the best job in the world though, as a major security breach has occurred, and glitches have spread through the facility's systems like wildfire. Chip explains this malware intrusion has caused containment cells to unlock and release hostile alien entities found within the facility. Doors and systems have gone into emergency lockdown as a safety measure. Chip also explains that his onboard antivirus saved him from corruption, and so thanks Lex as she was his programmer. After a brief tutorial where Chip reacquaints Lex with how to use the PGF device, the two set off to begin hacking their way to freedom. Although after hitting her head in the explosion that occurred alongside the security breach, she doesn't seem to remember anything, even her own name.
Chip? PGF? Lex? I don't remember anything.
Within the IT room is a power unit that is currently offline. Chip explains that in order to restore power to this generator and open the exit, Lex will need to use the PGF to hack the power unit and clear out any glitches from the system. He then guides Lex through the 3 basic hacking techniques. The first is known as columns, where the hacker must destroy glitches in both the left and right grids simultaneously as a marker moves across them. The second is called symbols. This hack requires the user to match symbols that cycle by in a box with the symbols found above. The final hack is titled memory. In this hack, a sequence will flash up on the grid and we must remember the pattern and then input it in the correct order. Lex manages to successfully pass Chip's trial, and by doing so, access to the exit door is granted. Next, Lex and her sidekick Chip head to the atrium, the central hub for the facility's information technology floor. Here we discover the name of the facility itself, the Federal Bureau of Containment. But what is the FBC? Well, later on in the chapter we are able to procure a projector tape which explains a little bit more about both the facility and the game world of Glitched Out as a whole. While this is out of sequence, for the sake of explaining the story, it is worth explaining these details at this point in the video. Upon playing the tape, we are greeted by the gruff sound of the Federal Bureau of Containment Director, Christoph Gast.
My name is Christoph Gast, director of this facility. I want to personally thank you for enlisting. You share a vision to keep our new home a safe and habitable place for all our citizens.
Director Gast goes on to explain the backstory of the Glitched Out universe, how humankind fled Earth in the year 2153 in order to find a more bountiful planet, and relocated to New Earth. However, while safer than their previous dying planet, New Earth was infested with hostile alien specimens known as entities, and so the Federal Bureau of Containment was set up to contain and study these dangerous species. This then led to an uprising, as many civilians felt that the work the FBC carried out was oppressive and cruel, and so aimed to overthrow the government and this facility. This is why the facility has been hit by so many security breaches, as a result of the Liberation's attacks on their systems. Christoph Gast finishes his presentation by explaining that they are looking to recruit anyone with skills beneficial to the Federal Bureau of Containment, whether that be software security engineers like Lex, soldiers who can stand against the entities, or zookeepers who can care for the aliens now housed within this facility. Now that we have some background on who the FBC is, and the location of New Earth where Glitched Out takes place, let's return to the story and continue where we left off. Lex manages to hack her way through the atrium after finding a keycode for the main power room by following clues left by software analyst Tony Chen. However, her progress is soon halted as she discovers the shutter door needed to reach the elevators leading to the surface is closed and powered down. Chip explains that in order to open this shutter, they need to head to the basement and reactivate 2 generators. And so our intrepid explorers head down a nearby stairwell to basement level. On the way they discover a human eyeball laying in a pool of blood. Is this what became of Lex's co-workers at the Bureau after the entities escaped containment?
Ew, so gross.
After entering the basement, Lex realizes she is now trapped until she activates the 2 power generators, which can only be powered up while the basement fire alarm is operational. Unfortunately, from a note left by maintenance officer Mia Langley, she discovers that the fire alarm has been disabled due to it constantly malfunctioning and sounding off all day long. This caused staff to needlessly evacuate the facility throughout the day. So Mia decided to remove the alarm connectors until an actual fire broke out, to save herself the headache. Luckily the connectors can be found close by, and once located, Lex is able to reassemble the fire alarm, at which point, just as promised, it malfunctions and springs to life. This attracting the attention of an unwanted entity guest. Chip explains the entity is extremely hostile, and Lex will want to refer to the PGF to learn its ins and outs. Every time the duo encounter a new entity specimen, Chip creates a data entry detailing its lore and attributes. Lex accesses the PGF and discovers this particular entity is known as Seeker. From the data log, we learn that Seeker's entity number, as assigned by the Bureau, is 26, and was captured in the northern caverns of Taurus. It initially tore its captors limb from limb, but was eventually captured and contained within the FBC. While cleaning out Seeker's containment cell, an entity Kara became trapped inside, and after a door malfunction, the Seeker made its way back inside the cell. But by staying perfectly quiet and crouching in a corner, the Kara was able to survive until extraction. This information tells us that the Seeker is blind and uses sound to seek out its prey. It is drawn to loud noises. So with this information in hand, Lex is able to work out how to avoid the Seeker's detection. She sets off a fire alarm to activate the 2 generators, and in turn lure the Seeker away from her position. After hacking both generators and restoring power to the shutters on the floor above, Lex manages to escape both the basement and the Seeker, and return to her main mission of escaping the facility. Returning to the first floor, Lex encounters a second entity. However, unlike the feral Seeker, this one is docile. Her name is Celeste, and she is a shopkeeper by trade.
Here you will find a host of exquisite wares from across the far reaches of New Earth. Treasures available to you for a price. The currency I seek are eyes.
Celeste seems to covet eyes, and wishes to offer them up to an entity she refers to as Mother Brain. Eyes are the currency she requests in return for items, so Lex must collect up the human eyes from corpses of entity victims in order to trade them for essential items. Celeste was first encountered within the swamps of the Nava region of New Earth, and willingly accompanied Bureau agents to the Federal Bureau of Containment, where she now continues to barter with the staff. Next, Lex heads through the shutter opened from powering up the basement generators. Unfortunately, she finds a giant gaping hole in the floor, preventing her and Chip from accessing the elevators to the surface where they can radio for support. Chip is a little disgruntled, but quickly formulates a backup plan. They can drop into the maintenance tunnels below and access the service elevator on that floor. However, the tunnels are very dark and they'll need a flashlight in order to navigate them. Luckily, Celeste has one in her possession, and so the quest for eyes begins. After purchasing a red keycard, Lex is able to access several previously locked doors throughout the IT department. This leads her to locate enough eyes to purchase the flash upgrade. She also discovers an audio log from a Bureau staff member called William Grove, who speaks about an agent named Yushinata, who seems to be in the good graces of Bureau Director Christoph Gast.
Agent Yushinata, why oh why does Director Gast have such an unhealthy obsession with you? Yushinata rose through the ranks quickly, despite middling test results. An average field agent swiftly promoted to the rank of top lieutenant. It makes no sense. I believe our fearless leader, Christoph, has a few skeletons in his closet, and I'm gonna do a little sleuthing, see if I can dig up the dirt.
From William Grove's audio, we learn that Agent Yushinata was the daughter of a Bureau agent responsible for one of the Bureau's greatest discoveries. However, Grove suspects that Yushinata may have some dirt on Director Gast, which has led to a rapid uprising within the company. He decides to do some detective work and see if he can get to the bottom of things. Eyes in hand, Lex and Chip head back to Celeste to purchase a flash upgrade. After doing so, with her stock now spent, Celeste bids our explorers farewell for now.
Looks like your greedy little mittens have exhausted my emporium stock. Fear not, traveler. When next we meet, I will have new bounties to behold. Farewell for now, little one.
Until next time.
With a flashlight in hand, Lex and Chip take a leap of faith and jump down the hole to the maintenance tunnels below. Lex hits her head but soon wakes and discovers Chip is dazed. She shakes him back to consciousness and the two continue with their journey, more bonded than ever before. Chip explains that all they need to do now is reach the service elevator and they'll be home free. To power up the shutter leading to the elevator, Lex must hack 3 power units throughout the tunnels, and so she sets off into the darkness of this underground maze. It's time to use that flash upgrade, which has 2 uses. Firstly, it acts as a flashlight to navigate the darkest corners of the facility, and secondly, it can be used as a stun gun to flash certain entities susceptible to bright lights. Now this works especially well on the next enemy, called the Lurker. From a data log provided by Chip, we can learn about this plant-like creature. The Lurker, also known as Entity 154, was first discovered in the crystal mines of Nava. It uses its sharp teeth to inject a deadly toxin into the bloodstream of its prey, paralyzing them in seconds. The Lurker then burrows into their body and eats their victim from the inside out. However, it is highly susceptible to bright light, and so our handy flashlight can be used as a perfect repellent. Lex makes her way through the winding darkness of the maintenance tunnels, hacking the 3 power units she comes across, which in turn open the previously locked shutter. Before heading through this shutter, she discovers another audio recording, this time from a liberation fighter named Veronica Grace.
This is Veronica Grace, 2nd Lieutenant of the New Earth Liberators. If anyone can hear me, please respond. I executed my assignment successfully, but then something went wrong.
Veronica Grace seems to be in a state of distress. She mentions how she completed her mission successfully, but now finds herself trapped inside the Bureau, with many of the entity specimens on the loose and out for blood. She also mentions she heard a loud sound emanating from the surface. Could this be some kind of explosion? It seems as though Veronica may be involved in the security breach that occurred within the Bureau, a mole within the FBC acting on behalf of the Liberation. Lex comments that she recognizes Veronica's voice and name.
I recognize her voice. And that name. But where from?
Heading through the shutter, Lex heads to the elevator, but on the way is ambushed by the Seeker, who has managed to make its way into the tunnels. It's time to run, so she sprints to the elevator and narrowly escapes. However, Seeker tries to pry the elevator doors open and almost succeeds until it is repelled by Chip, who briefly takes on a monstrous form. Lex is a little startled by this, but Chip assures her that everything is fine, and with the elevator now in operation, it's only a matter of time before they reach the safety of a planet above. Unfortunately, things are never that easy. The elevator power fails and is rerouted to the nearest available floor, level 2, engineering. While Chip is a little dismayed, he reassures Lex that everything will be okay. After all, they make a great team. And with that, we come to the end of this video and a look at the story of Glitched Out Explained. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it both entertaining and informative. If you did, remember to leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for more horror related content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.